afternoon. This is 3 p.m. on Saturday. It is our usual time to share important knowledges with our folks, right? Last Saturday, what did we do? We actually talked about the business continuation after you getting into issues with your immigration status, getting deported or couldn't come back to the country, whatever happened. So we're talking about how to continue the business continuation. Today, we want to talk about asset protection strategies for immigrants. And the category is larger just because I think as an immigrant, and we knew how we established ourselves in the country from day one, and how we accumulated our wealth throughout the time. And then we are at this time, at this juncture, we don't want anything to happen and wasted all of our lifetime to make wealth, but we couldn't really keep any of that. So with that said, our topic is from a CPA perspective in terms of safeguarding U.S. wealth. Obviously, I am a CPA and I am not a lawyer. Of course, at our firm, we have attorneys, we have a legal team in our firm, but I myself today is going to focus on CPA perspective. So a lot of it is related to taxes, a lot of it is related to the filing, but you know what? At the end of the day, the bottom line, the dollar is the most important. So it doesn't really matter what kind of things you do. At the end of the day, you need to come onto a tax form. You need to know what you did is for what. All right, let's get familiar with our firm. This is our website, communitycpa.com, and you can come over here to get to know us more. For example, you can click the appointments button, where will lead you to set up appointment with our partners. And you can also get onto the on board with us. That button allow you to upload your document, then you will begin to work with us, and we knew who you are, we will contact you. So give you the freedom of not making appointment, not to call us, just start working with us. That's really the key. So we have that button for those who are just so super busy, or maybe you are already out of US and couldn't really finish the business in US, you need someone to help you. There you go. You can get us to help you by uploading whatever information you have. So we knew to reach back out to you. Our YouTube channel is really our hub of knowledge. We have been doing YouTube channel 4 times a week. Yes, 4 times a week, 5 years already. So you can imagine what kind of knowledge, what kind of talk, what kind of education we have been giving to the public. So you want to take advantage of that, subscribe to our channel, so you always know what topic is coming up. And right now we have more than 6,000 followers who subscribe to our channel. So like today, this webinar topic came out, it will go to all of our subscribers. You don't have to come to listen to me right now. You can go back in later to search what we talked about, but it's just a freedom of knowing, right? You're in the free country, so why not making the knowledge flow to you also free, so you know what to do, right? All right, about our firm. We are a regional CPA firm, and we have, on here we listed by number, 12,000, more than 12,000 clients that we serve. And we have more than 40 professionals we have in our firm. We speak 10 different languages collectively. And we have 6 partners in our firm right now. We obviously always growing our partners, and so far the partners are the people who worked in the firm with years experience packed on their back, and they become partner, and then they serve the clients at a higher level, right? We have 5 different office locations. The newest one is Houston, Texas. That's where I am today. So from Houston, Texas, I am talking to all of you. And we do have 4 other branches, and our branches are all open 6 days a week, year round. We don't just work for tax season, we work for 4 seasons, every season, right? I served as I served at the National Taxpayer Advocacy Panel. This is like taxpayer right enforcement panel for 3 years, and this panel is actually a part of the federal IRS advisory mechanics. So we are the advisors to the IRS, and so I actually served that for 3 years. And I have 2 books I wrote already. I am working on the 3rd one, the 4th one. It is a business series that I created. The book is Appointment with Ying at 8 a.m. and Appointment with Ying at 10 a.m. These two, one is Start Up the Business. The second one is Grow Your Business. Those 2 are done. I finished those 2 books and pretty much symbolize what I did with Community CPA. I started Community CPA. I grow Community CPA. Right now, I'm at the stage of expanding Community CPA. So me, along with many of my clients, we are expanding our business, and I document those trial and errors, those journeys into my book. So when you read it, you are seeing what I see with all of our clients and myself, and really learn from real example rather than those college books, right? You do learn, but you learn differently when you have a real story versus just theory. All right, then out of our firm's character, I also say that we do have one goal, which is to serve all of our small businesses with our heart and soul. A lot of small businesses here in U.S. are owned by immigrants, by the first generation of immigrants or the second generation of immigrants. So there a lot of people we serve are in that category. That is why you see me talking about immigrants, because I myself is one, and I see many others are the same. Of course, for a free knowledge exchange, we always emphasize on the legal side of responsibility. It is a free knowledge to you, so we take no responsibility for how you use the knowledge or how you interpret the knowledge. But if you really want things to be done right, you want to go to your trusted advisor, your attorney, your CPA, or you come to Community CPA. If you already trusting us, then come to us, we will serve you. But what I'm saying is that you must form this proper client and service relationship to have the service itself be a responsibility of the service provider. So obviously, just like hospitals, they buy malpractice insurance to cover their doctors. At a CPA firm and law firm, we also have malpractice insurance to cover the incidental wrongdoing that any professional might do in the firm. So with that said, if you want surety and you want to engage people and have that service relationship, right? But right now, it is your time to do free learning. Don't be afraid, you learn, because when we put out the knowledge, we already gone through our reviews, we already gone through our due diligence, we have done our best to give you the most accurate information. Information are time bound. They're so fluid, right? They could change today. What I say could be wrong tomorrow because of a new things came out. And with the changing time, don't you call it a changing time right now, right? With new administration, what does not change? I want you to give me a list of things that doesn't change. None. Everything is changing and changing rapidly. So with that said, you cannot nail any knowledge in a still time. It is a fluid. You need to learn every day. You need to follow us every day. All right. Earlier, I was talking about the webinar I did last Saturday. Business continuation planning is crucial for ensuring a company's survival and a smooth operation, even in the case where the owner is no longer in U.S., right? So we talked about that extensively last Saturday. You can find that same webinar on the internet, on the YouTube channel. So in there, we talk about the 6 things, right? We talk about structure, ownership, we talk about banking, we talk about managing your business and owner compensation. We also talked about taxes. So So this is where you're gonna find our YouTube channel. I'm showing you right here, and I'm also showing you that webinar I did, and it's 36 minutes. It's not very long, and the title, the look of the what do you call it? The thing on the YouTube channel is looking like that, so you will find it. All right, so by addressing these aspects, we talk about these 6 items, the business owner can help ensure their company continues to function effectively, even if they are not physically present in US. All right, so what happened? So today's webinar, we talk about your asset. We want you to understand that what happened to your asset if your immigration status changed, right? Can be changed to the better because you got your citizenship, but also can be changed to the worse because you got terminated, you have to leave in a certain amount of time. But what happened to your asset if your immigration status changed for the worse, like you couldn't stay in US anymore, and your right to your asset do not change with your status change? Okay, so I want to say that again. So if your immigration status changed, you face deportation, visa termination, your assets are not automatically forfeited or seized by the government. You retain the ownership of your property and your financial accounts regardless of your immigration status. However, managing these assets from abroad, from outside of US, it is hard. It is not as smooth, as easy as you are in US. But it is important to know that while your ownership right generally is still here intact, remain the same, your ability to manage and access your asset may be affected by your physical presence, right? Because you're not in the country. So making sure that you prepare for that. This is where the asset protection, you may say that, okay, Ying, good. You said that my immigration status changes as my asset, my asset is still mine, and there is no difference for that. And I feel so good about that. And so nothing really in a hurry. No, there's still need to really prepare. So we will talk about what you're gonna do. But right here, I want you to focus on what I wrote here, right? The property right. The U.S. Constitution protects the property right for all individuals, regardless your immigration status, even you face deportation. Your bank account, the bank account remain accessible. If you can access your bank account overseas, it is still your bank account. You still have them, and it's just not as easy to manage as when you are in the country, right? Your real estate, your properties, if you own a home, you still maintain ownership, right? So it doesn't matter your immigration status, but you will need to make sure your mortgage, your property tax, things like that being paid properly, timely, so you don't face you don't face foreclosure because you just left. Like there's nobody know what to do with your house, right? And your business we talked about. If you have a business, you can continue your business. Those are the 6 items we talked about last Saturday, right? And personal belongings, you need to make arrangement for your, if you rent an apartment, you want to talk to the landlord to see what to do with your personal belongings. It can be put in the storage room. You pay much less dollars to leave them in the storage for near future so you can sort it out. You can also just have your friend coming in to sort it out. So those are personal belongings, might be very important to you because you just got deported without notification. You can't go back. You were detained. So with that, your personal belongings still yours, but you just need to work it out, how to sort it out, right? All right. Now, what if you get detained and you are about to be deported? There is no time for you. Or maybe you have 1 hour. You can go to do something. What do you do in that one last hour? So I put out this slides for you because I want you to be aware of this power of attorney. We call them POA. A lot of time you hear people saying POA. In case of emergency, you have no time left to do anything, do POA. So what is POA? POA is to give somebody else the right to act on behalf of you. Okay, there's many type of POAs out there. To think of 8, most often ones I see, the general power of attorney, make it very general, or you do everything. And the limited power of attorney is another kind. You can have a medical POA, you can have a child POA, you can have real estate POA, you can have tax POA. Those are the ones the CPA firm, like my firm, and the one we need to do data match and stuff, we do tax POA, which is 2848, and the IRS form, we use that to get that done so we can deal with your tax matters, right? Vehicle, financial POA, vehicle POA, and you have all of these POAs you can make. But in the last hour before you leave US, what you want most importantly is that financial POA. Is that POA to say what you do. So in here, I put out there for you. You want to choose the right type of POA. You also want to choose the right state where you were the residents before you leave. Okay, so select an agent, right? You write a POA, you give the power to whom? To your children who is 16 years old? No, the kid need to be over 18 years old if you want to do that. So you can give POA to anybody, literally, but you want to make sure they're trustworthy and they're older than 18 years old. They're probably not going to do something without the endorsement from you, and so you need to trust the right agency. And you can give out POA to 2 people so they can work on that together. So there is no limitation on that. You can always combine the power, so have a group of people working on your thing, or you can just give POA to a organization like Community CPA or your attorney, right? So to have them do that. Determine the authority scope. That's really important. You want to write in the POA as clear as possible what you are wanting people to do for you. Okay? And you draft the document, you need to sign, then a witness and a notary need to sign to get that done, right? Then you need to file that. You can give that to you for sure need to give that to the people you authorize to act on your behalf, right? So you give a copy to them, then you can provide a copy to your bank, you can mail a copy to if it is a medical POA, to your doctor. You can do distribution on your own, and you also have the POA with you, so when you are outside of US, you can send that over to whoever you want to deal with so they know who is your power of attorney. You can even do the POA on your own, my dear, online. Just that if you are outside of US, when you do POA search, you want to make sure you're searching POA in US, you're searching POA in US in a particular state. So just make sure that you've got that POA to be very defined by where the POA power gonna be in US, in this state, for this matter, and make that as detailed as possible, right? So this is the one last minute thing I want you to do. This is asset protection. This is to protect you from losing your wealth. Your POA will help to get that done. Now, we have some people saying that, well, I didn't really do anything, and now I am afraid I'm going to be deported. I can do a POA, but I don't have anything in US. I didn't establish anything. I didn't have IT number. So our recommendation for the second things, other than getting the POA, if you don't have an IT number, if you are a non-documented immigrant, or you are an immigrant, haven't really come through to file taxes, or your status was in approval for a long time, you couldn't get a social security number, you need to apply for IT number, even if you are leaving. You must have this ID here in US. So that way things can be done. So important. And you may say that, well, how do I apply for I-10? To apply that with W-7, that's a form. On irs.gov, you can go get the form. You can apply. But if you apply it yourself, you know how you have to attach your identity. So you have to attach your passport. It has to be the original, non-expired passport. You need to FedEx that to the IRS, and then they will send it back to you. It's a little nerve-wracking, I understand. So the alternative is that you apply the IRS, you apply this IT number via IRS's certified issuing agent. So there's a group of people and a group of organization. They are certified issuing agent. Like Community CPA. Community CPA is authorized agent. So you can come to these organizations, which you can go to irs.gov to search for certified issuing agent in your area. Then you will find them. When you do it with them, you don't need to send your passport to IRS. The agency will review it. And they will make a record and for themselves, and then they will be sending your W-7 to get your number, so you don't have to agonizing over losing your passport. Okay, so we also have a videotape. The videos on our YouTube channel. It looks like that. I-10 application, frequently asked questions. Go on there and understand what you need to do, and use I-10. You can do so many things. You can do things properly. You can protect your asset better. That's why I talk about I-10. Okay? So it's a very different approach when you go to some asset protection lawyer conference. It is a bunch of, formations, bunch of bubbles and lines they give you, and it confuse yourself enough that is confuse other people. No. From the CPA standpoint, the asset protection is so much related to how we file taxes, how we are in compliance with the government requirement, right? With Treasury requirement. So the W-7 is one of those requirements. If you make money in U.S., if you conduct business in U.S., and if you are staying in U.S. more than 183 days, and you are defined as tax residents, and you need to file taxes here. And even if it is not residence tax, you still have to file. So there, your I-10 comes in, right? So you may say that, well, is there, what other benefit you have for me to do I-10 number? I can literally give you like 10 big benefit you could get out of the I-10. Number one, you use I-10 to file taxes. You can't file your taxes. If you're an undocumented immigrant and you don't have I-10, how are you going to file your taxes? You say, oh, I don't file. Then you are in violation of the rules, and you are already, with immigration, you already have this thing. Don't you want to be good with every other government agencies, right? So you have I-10, at least you are in compliance with the IRS. So filing taxes, and you can open bank account with I-10. That's number two. You can even get a driver license, or some state give you the identification card. You can get your ID, and you can use that to prove the residency in U.S. That's important. If you can prove residence in U.S., you file a normal 1040. You file a normal tax return, right? And you can even apply for loans with I-10. Don't tell me you don't know about that. It has been a big deal for the last 10, 15 years, right? Maybe not so much so now. I don't know how situation will go, but it was that way before. With I-10, you can even get child tax credit. And you can build your credit history with I-10, right? And you open checking and saving account, and you can use this to build your structures, have your company and build your trust. You can do so many things for your wealth management as well with ITIN. So with all of that, ITIN is something you must have. If you are still here, you have worries for all reasons, then apply your ITIN. If you don't know where to apply, you have community CPA. And if you can just go on to irs.gov, find out where the other certified issuing agents are, go to them, and you can get that set up. All right, so this is my second point. We're talking about wealth protection, right? And wealth protection to protect your wealth, and for immigrants, and you need to have a POA on hand, done, defined. You need to have that. And you need to have ITIN number. Or if you have social security number, of course you're fine. But if you don't, you must have an ITIN number. Those are all wealth protection. You are not a resident of US, and the S corporation doesn't really pan out for you. And LLC pan out for you. C corporation definitely pan out for you. And we talked about the C corporation last Saturday. During our business continuation, we talked about how to use the C corporation, right? So now, and what we want to make you clear is, when you set up these structures, not only they are an asset protection tool, they're also a very effective tool to help you to lower your lower your audit risk. You know, we talk about, you know, there was one time I met a Chinese client. It was really interesting, and she did a Chinese poem on relating to the audit. She said, I'm going to say that in Chinese. She said, 辛辛苦苦30年，一夜变成解放前. The Chinese poem means that I worked 30 years hard labor job, saved money, but overnight I become dirt poor again. Reference to a audit they just came through. So they lost all their money over the audit. So that is what one of my clients taught me, this Chinese poem. And I always remember that because I know how easy a audit can just destroy everything you have. I'm not saying that the audit is wrong. Maybe the audit is not wrong, and just your way of operating your business was not perfect. And then you ended up with that result, right? So to have this structure in place will also help you to lower the audit risk. Even if you get audited, the damage is area controlled, so you don't end up, you know, becoming dirt poor like 30 years ago. That's not good, right? So, you know, obviously, if you say, oh, great, Ying, then let's just set up the tax structure so complex that confuses everybody. No, you also don't want to do that. So in fact, if you set up a complex tax structure and was not implementing that properly into your tax return, you are inviting audit. Audit will come. And there is a likelihood of audit triggered by complex tax structure and confuses everybody because you did not implement that properly. A good tax structure implementation doesn't confuse anybody. And you need to know that. The people who implement that for you should have the ability to explain it crystal clear. Crystal clear. And this is one of the principles we have in our firm when we do tax planning for folks. There is no tax planning we are going to do that you are confused as my client and you say to us that, well, do whatever you want. I don't know what you do, but I trust you. No, that is not a goal. And the goal for us is we explain to you once, twice, 3 times, quadruple times, you finally get it, we go. But if we don't get it, that just means we don't implement. Because if you don't understand the tax structure, you implement it, it is almost like you're binding your hands together and you can't work anymore because you don't know what you need to do. Don't ever be there. Don't let anyone, don't let any professional people you deal with to confuse you and making you feel small. You don't understand what they're saying, so you abide by what they're saying blindly, right? Never do that. That means they did not provide good service to you, period. A good service to you is the one that catered to you and you understood. All right, so talk about limited liability company. Limited liability company, it is like a box. You put things inside of this box so they can't bounce out. They're right in this legal structure. So limiting your liability. That's why it's called limited liability company, right? And separating what's in here with what's out there. So what out there might be your personal thing. What's here is the business thing. So you're separating them. And you can make the structure one layer more complex. You know how when you form a LLC, you have members, right? Either you or maybe your spouse or somebody is the member. But LLC also allow you to have a member who is not a person. Not a person, is an entity. For example, a C corporation can be the member of the LLC. So then your LLC is owning all the properties, but the member is a C corporation or a trust. You can imagine the layer of protection right here, right? So, for example, if you own a California real estate in a LLC, and you put the LLC owners to be an irrevocable grantor trust, you just walk away from everything. And you don't have any exposures to your asset anymore because the asset will land into the irrevocable grantor trust. And I know the word of trust sometimes making us dizzy, right? To trust, irrevocable, revocable, living trust, spendthrift trust, and whatever trust. And deportation trust is another one we're going to talk about. There's so many trusts, right? But I only want you to remember two things on the trust. So in terms of the trust behavior, the nature, there's only two. One is revocable. The other one is irrevocable. Consider revocable is you can change your mind. You can do whatever you want. And it is still yours. So it's called revocable. It is the living trust. Like continue to breathe while you're breathing. Not dead while you're not dead. But irrevocable trust, consider that is your child, but cut the relationship with you. You can't get it back. They hate you so much that they don't want you to be their parents. I'm just kidding. But it's maybe not the best analogy, but irrevocable means once you set it up, ladies and gentlemen, you can't go back. It is done. All right? So, with that said, and you can imagine, I form an LLC, I put all my property inside, but the member of the LLC, guess what? It is an irrevocable grantor trust. And don't worry about the word of grantor. Just think about irrevocable trust. So these are only two types of trust. Of course, depends on the irrevocable trust, you came up with all kind of names. Don't get too excited about the trust name. You just want to know what is the trust document says. You can give a new name if you want to, right? So I have this deportation trust name to give you because it makes so much sense for what we're talking about right here. So I pull it out to show you what deportation trust do for you. But here, and I want you to focus on the tax structure, right? I am a tax person. I am the tax strategist. I sometimes, when I'm in the mood of, boasting my own image, and I challenge people, I say that I am the best tax strategist in the country. Find me another one and tell me who they are. I want to be their friend because I just really want to know people who are as good as myself so we can discuss things more efficiently. We may even come up with better ideas, right? So with that said, I want you to know that tax structure, it is one of the better means to protect your asset. Of course, if you put it under C Corp, it's also good because it's limited liabilities, just like LLC. It's lower the audit risk, right? And it has the stock protection option because C Corporation stock can be placed in a limited liability company or an asset protection trust. Guess what? Yeah. So the shareholder can be a LLC, can be a trust. So you don't need to be the shareholder if you don't want to be. All right? And the tax advantage, C Corp has a lower tax rate than the personal. And the C Corp has more flexibility in determining its fiscal year. What does that mean? When we file personal taxes, it's from January to December. Am I right? January to December. If you made $1 million on December 1st, you didn't have time to spend it, you pay taxes on it because it is the end of the year calculation. But C Corporation would have a flexible fiscal year. That means if I only make money in December, then I want to make my December the first year of my tax year. So my tax year will start from December 1st to the end of November. Make sense? So that is the power. C Corporation has that flexibility. Now, so what we covered so far is we talked about POA, so important. Then we talked about IT numbers, so critical for someone that didn't have a social security number, yet running all these business and owning all these assets in the country and afraid of being deported, afraid of immigration status to go bad, and then you need to have IT number, okay? Then we talked about setting up tax structure to further protect. So this is what we talked about, LLC and C Corp. And what I put in your mind is that LLC's member don't have to be you. C Corporation members don't have to be you. It can be other entities, right? All right. Now, let's talk about set up a deportation trust. Now I got your attention. Wow, deportation trust. So what is deportation trust? It is really a name because when you receive the order, the court order of deportation, and then what you need to do, that is how the name come about. So it is a normal asset protection trust with added estate planning features. So you know how the living trust is that if you do whatever you do, but when you die and the trust goes into the stage where the beneficiary come up to take over your trust, right? So deportation trust is marked as the day you get deported. So as soon as you are not in the country anymore, the deportation trust coming in, so the estate portion will come to play. So you can see the deportation trust as a combination of asset protection trust plus estate planning and estate arrangement. All right, and need to get a EIN number right away if you set up deportation trust, or you need to file 1041 annually. It is 1041, not 1040, right? So the grantor, the settlor, which is you are the one having all these business and asset, and you're the one worried about immigration status to go bad, and you're the one wanting to do the deportation trust, so you can use the asset as long as you are in U.S. See? You put the asset in the deportation trust, you can still use it. And if the deportation is ever served, the asset protection kicks in. Make it harder for authority to do anything with it because the trust beneficiary took over, right? And this is really, this is very useful trust for people. So I want to mention about that. But the one thing I also need you to know is not every state allow these type of trust. So this is like the, this is the trust, they call that self-settled trust. Like you self-settle that trust. Well, you can, it's just called self-settled trust, and it is irrevocable trust. This kind of trust, there is a 17th state allow it. The other state do not allow it. Has similar things, but not exactly a deportation trust. I listed the state here for you, so you can check. All the state my firm has the branch with, like Iowa, Minnesota, Texas, California, none of those states allows the deportation trust right now. I'm not saying that it won't happen, because it is sort of like contagious approach. So state after state start to adopting it. So you never know which state is coming in. That's why if you are interested in that, you do need a professional to help you to figure out what to do, right? Because the deportation process really give people time to wind down your U.S. affairs. So it is going to be too late to get the trust moving if someone already in the immigration, process to take away your visa. For that, this one, it is something that better off if you can start at that early, right? Don't wait until the end. Then now I want to go into a couple of examples of how the planning would work and not work. So these are real stories. I'm not making it up, and I certainly didn't use the right identity of the client or the people I know, but these are real life stories. So you know how that would apply to you if you are sort of in the same boat. All right, so just recap. We talked about number 1, and we talked about POA, then we talked about IT, then we talked about corporation, setting up tax structure to protect, then we talked about setting up deportation trust, a trust instrument in general. So trust in general, like I said, just the 2 types, right? Irrevocable, irrevocable. So you will talk to your trusted advisors, your attorney, your CPAs to know what type would work for your specific example. But let me give you examples here. James has an F1 student visa, operated a bubble tea store on campus, and he returned to China over the winter break, and never was able to come back. It's a real story. And this particular student, he wasn't able to come back because he and his girlfriend got into a fight. The girlfriend called the police. The police write up on him. And he went to the immigration attorney and asked the attorney that, would this thing affecting my returning back? The attorney, without experience, doesn't know what she was talking about, and told the student that, oh, no problem, you can go, and it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. You will be okay. They won't even know. So he went back, but because of that criminal record, and he could not come back again. But obviously he was not prepared. So what happened? Business was forced to close because he's the one managing the bubble tea place. The landlord took over the lease and the leases to others. The other people also did a bubble tea kind of business, but it's totally getting all the renovation, everything for free. And he spent $250,000 to renovate that place. And he only operated for about 3 months because he came in September and did all these setup, and F1 student, and he owns the C corporation. But so what? He didn't really have any arrangement. So the tax side of things, we actually wrapped it up for him because he didn't have any income, so he has no tax liability. We filed the final, we closed with the company, we closed with federal government, we closed with the state, we closed with the sales tax, we closed with the payroll, we closed everything he has, food license, everything. So that part of government compliance, he was okay, but he lost his $250,000 renovation. And the landlord has been chasing after the lease for so many years. So I kept on telling the landlord that there's no need. And the person will never come back. And he did not intend to not pay your 5 years lease. So you just need to forget about it. So obviously, I do believe that is probably filed somewhere for him. So if he's trying to come back, and that lease is going to come back to haunt him again. So it's not a good example, not a good result, right? So this is where we want to say that, it doesn't matter how you think you are so secure. If you get out of the country, and you should consider yourself, what if you cannot come back? And because of that thought, you need to do planning. You have to. And this student, if he told me that he has that criminal stuff going on and the complaints that his girlfriend filed on him, and that girlfriend even went back to withdraw that, it didn't even work. So if that is the case, he should never go back. He should resolve that here first before he go back. But there are people don't know what they know, don't know what they don't know, and give wrong advice, right? So maybe this James person should have consulted more than one immigration attorney before he returned. That's one example, a real life example. Example number 2, Jesus. Jesus has an IT and operated a cleaning company. The company is a C Corp. He was deported about 5 years ago, not recently, and was unable to come back to operate the business. But what happened of that? Actually, things happened, and we don't even know Jesus before he was deported. But even though he was deported, and he still have connections to the company, for the past 5 years he has been getting payment from the company. Company was sending the payment out to him as owner for dividend, and his manager was handling everything of the company. Company also purchased its own operational building, and that is under company's name, so it is still Jesus's thing. And he files return each year with our firm. We file C corporation tax return, but when we file this tax return, we also file form 5472 to report foreign shareholder who owns 25% or more of the company. I just want to mention to you that the penalty for not filing is huge. It's $10,000 a year. So please, if you have a shareholder who is a foreign shareholder, holds more than 25% of U.S. company shares, you have to file it. So this is what we do. So it's still running. It's not the end of the world. And whether he's here or not here, probably it did a lot better without him, because his manager was so capable. Everything is going so smoothly. So this is a real example as well. Then Francisco had an E2. Had the E2 visa, but he missed the renewal time, so the visa was invalidated, and he lost his visa by accident. It just missed. It's 2 years renewal, and he didn't do it. And so now the visa is not, it went bad, so he planned to go home. But the business he has, that side he can work out, because he can just remotely control, but he can also get another visa, come back, and it's no big deal. But he has a temp property. It's all under his personal name. So the properties are in Michigan State. So this is one of the state allow the deportation trust, remember? So he has 10 properties. So if he just got out, become a foreigner, all these property come foreigner-owned properties, the reporting of it is going to be very labor-intensive, because we would file and 1040 NR, and he would have to be withheld all the money, and he would have to file taxes every year on 1040, right? NR. So the property also belongs to him, and it's a foreign ownership. Then when we go to buy insurance, the insurance agent has issue. It is not, the owner is not a U.S. person. So it just complicates the matter. Then all the mortgage extension had issue, because now he's not in the country. The mortgage was done under his name. So suddenly he doesn't have his visa anymore. So all these mortgages has to be redone. Just a lot of issue. So he established a single member LLC, and transferred all of his property title to the LLC. Then the single member LLC, the single member is not him. The single member is irrevocable grantor trust, just like the deportation trust, but without the estate planning side of things. So he can still self-control that property. He can still work on the property and operating the property, but it's an irrevocable grantor trust. So now, irrevocable grantor trust will file taxes because the single is a single member LLC, so the LLC is filed within the irrevocable grantor trust 1041 return. At each year end, we file 1041, right? In the 1041, he has a disregarded entity, his LLC. All of the property is actually under that name. Makes sense, right? Yes, you can plan. You can plan it. It is not difficult. It is not difficult for you to understand, and you don't have to do the paperwork once you know what to do. Some other people do it for you, but you know the concept is very straightforward, right? All right, my last slides on the content. Customize your approach. There is no one is the same as the other one. So, sometimes you hear clients saying that, oh, my friend did this and that, and so why am I not doing this and that? I want to say that in terms of taxes, in terms of asset protection, structure planning, don't believe your friend. Because they may know part of their plan, they may not articulate the rest. They may tell you that, oh, I don't need asset protection plan. Guess what? They have no asset. Maybe you think they do, but actually the asset don't belong to them. It's their parents. You don't know your friend. Don't listen to your friend. You need to look at your situation, and what happened to James is not going to happen to you. Francisco's E2, you will never forget to renew. Why are you doing that? I don't even know why Francisco did not renew. All right, so those are not the same situation, and you won't end up the same. But to protect your wealth, whether it is from immigration end of issues or from governmental compliance audit standpoint, to get a customized plan and get prepared early. You should reach out to your trusted attorney, CPA, your advisor, your brother-in-law, sister, I don't know, someone you trust, and move on to get this done as soon as possible. Protect your wealth with urgency, okay? We all understand what means urgency, right? You need to pee and you need to pee, so that's urgency. So that is the same level of urgency. It just like didn't have a bodily reaction. Why not? You should have bodily reaction for urgency. That is the way you can extend your wealth to the next 20 years, to your children or people you love, and for your legacy. You don't want to work this 20 years, then give it all up of a one small misstep. Don't do that. All right. Desire to know more? Wanting to be our client? Wanting to talk to us? These are partners. They are powerhouse. I am telling you. Every one of our partners is no joke. We know what we can do for you. And you call any one of us. You talk to any one of us. And I listed the area of specialty and even the language they speak so that you know who you can talk to. All right? Obviously, you can always book my time. And this is, again, our YouTube channel. And you want to go to youtube.com and put in Community CPA. The channel start with the round logo right there. Then you subscribe. Then you're part of our team, and we will educate you. And we won't bore you with useless information. Those are all useful information. And again, you can email Catherine at communitycpa.com, and she is our marketing manager at our firm, and also very capable and can be given a title of librarian. And she actually gather what you want, and she scheduled it out for me. So when I come on Saturday, I know what I need to talk about. So I'm never at a loss because she prepares me. All right. So our firm opens 6 days a week, from 8:30 to 5:30, Monday to Saturday. We have 2 teams. One work Monday to Friday, Tuesday to Saturday. So call us on Saturday when you are less busy. We are always there. All right. I hope this gives you a good dose of knowledge, to give you that good dose of urgency and make you physically react to it, so you can make a call, make a plan, and step by step get it done. All right, folks, I'll see you again on Tuesday, and I will let you know on the notification what we're going to talk about. You have a great weekend, just as I do. I always have such a great weekend, and I want you to have that too. God bless you.